Good to go. Reading of the meeting's notice, please.
The Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Erie, PA will meet in regular session on Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019, in the auditorium at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street, at 6 p.m. by request of the President, Frank Petrunger, Jr.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Cassillo,
Excused.
Mr. Fabrizi,
Excused.
Mrs. Feeney,
Here.
Mr. Harkins.
Here.
Mrs. McNair.
Here.
Mr. Spagel.
Here.
Mr. Titus.
Here.
Mrs. Alexandrovich.
Here.
Mr. Petrunger.
Here. Pledge of Allegiance led by Amaya Page, third grade student from Joanne O'Connell Elementary School, introduced by Mr. Jesse Williams, principal, followed by a moment of silence for Helene Grandy, retired communications specialist, who passed away on April 25th, 2019. Jean Vance, former custodian, who passed away on April 28th, 2019. Elaine Schubach Markley, retired teacher, who passed away on April 30th, 2019. Elaine Schwab, retired teacher, who passed away on May 5th, 2019. Tyler?
And then also for Corey Brown, the PSEA Vice President, who passed away on May 18th, 2019.
Members of the board, Mr. Polito, Ms. Zaborski, I brought to you Amaya Page. She is a third grade student at Joanna Connell. And actually, I brought her because she is one of the most honest students that we possibly have at Connell. And in fact, you can ask her anything. For example, if I asked you, Amaya, who is the best looking principal that you have, what would you say?
It's you, Mr. Williams, but you're my only principal.
That is correct. Minor details is what I like to tell them. So, speaking of details, we have that she loves schools because she loves recess and playing with her friends in gym class. Her favorite subjects are writing and art. She is a straight A student, and not only that, but she has a future in whether or not she wants to be an artist or a veterinarian. She's not sure yet, but she's going to decide very soon. So, Amaya, go ahead.
Please stand.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good job.
Wait. Got more. This month, the board is pleased to honor the leaders of our district's parent-teacher associations as our community supporters for their continued dedication to the students and staff of Erie's Public Schools. One of the primary strategic goals of our district is to improve parental engagement and communication in our schools, and have community-run partner or parent-teacher organizations is crucial to succeeding in that goal. We need parents to be part of our schools and active in all our students' lives. And we are grateful for the 6 PTA leaders who are with us representing Strong Vincent, Grover Cleveland, Perry, Jefferson, Harding, and Joanna Connell. On behalf of the students and families, the board would like to extend our thanks to these PTA leaders. And at this time, I'd like to invite Kristen Sinnott, Carrie Ann Ray, Christy Gunther, Stephanie Morris, Sarah Munson, and Dana Apshet to the stage to accept the recognition.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do for our kids.
Thank you.
Stephanie, thanks for everything you do.
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for having us.
Right now, I'd like to call on Ms. McCoskey.
Good evening, directors, Mr. Polito, Mrs. Sapersky. It's my pleasure to introduce you once again, Max Diachkin. The last time we were here, Max and his Skills USA competitors had just finished the District 10 competition, which Max placed first in CNC milling specialist, and now he is now a state third place champion in the state Skills USA competition in CNC milling specialist. Max comes from a long line of career and tech students. He has 6 older siblings, 5 of whom all graduated from Central Tech, 1 from Collegiate. So he's the last of a long line. He's going to graduate in June, and we are very proud of him. Thank you for allowing us to come tonight, and join me in congratulating him.
Nice.
Great job.
Sorry.
Congratulations.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Michael Hayes, a quality engineer from Baker Hughes. Mr. Hayes will introduce representatives from the FIRST Robotics Team 291, CIA Creativity in Action.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. For those of you that don't know, FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. It's a worldwide competition of robotics that's intending to inspire, that's the I is the key word there, inspire kids about science and technology. We're sure that their schools do a great job educating them. We're just trying to get them even more amped up about this stuff. Every year the teams are challenged to design, fabricate, and program robots that have to play each other in a 3-on-3 contest. So not only do you have to be able to take on an opponent, but you have to figure out how you're going to work together as an alliance, is what they call it. 9 of our alumni so far have gone to work for GE, now Wabtec, here in town. Other of our alumni are working for United Technologies. Last year we had a girl graduate and go right to work for SpaceX. I don't know how many of you have ever contemplated graduating from high school, entering college as a sophomore, and then going to work for SpaceX straight off, but I was impressed. It was a pretty good year this year. We had our off season, which is what we're in right now, the summer. Last year we placed first at Mahoning Valley Robotics Challenge. We were finalists at the WOW competition, which is the Western Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia regional. We won the Autonomous Award at the Rochester Ruckus. And then this year in the competitive season, we were 12th out of 50 teams at the Greater Pittsburgh Regional. That put us in the top quarter of the field and got us a spot in the quarterfinals. None of this would be possible, though, without the support of the school district. It just couldn't happen. So we make it a point every year to come here and thank you, and to express that thanks from the people that are really being impacted the most. We have 2 representatives, Sri Adara and Kaylee Brown. Kaylee's first.
Good evening. My name is Kaylee Brown. I'm a senior at Collegiate, and I've been on the robotics team for 4 years. Over the years, I've learned so much about robotics, including mechanical, electrical, design, and assembly, but I've also learned how to fundraise, what the importance of outreach is, and how to mentor and how to lead. FIRST Robotics isn't just a place to build robots, but it's a place to make friends and to become part of a family and join a community of like-minded people. I'm going to Barron next year to study electrical engineering, and without robotics, I wouldn't know where I'd go. And with robotics, it's helped me choose my path to further my education. So thank you for sponsoring our team to help give kids not only a chance to further our education in STEM, but to bring together a community of kids to learn and grow as a family. Thank you for your time and support.
Hello everyone, my name is Suri Dara, and this is my second year with First Robotics Team 291. Being a part of this team has taught me technical skills, such as how to machine and design mechanical parts, while also teaching me important life skills, such as leadership and cooperation. None of what we've accomplished as a team would have been possible without your support for our program. Thank you.
Thank you. Not yet. Certificate of Appreciation to Angela Brader, Student Representative to the Board for April and May. Angela Brader, Student Representative to the Board for April and May 2019 from Erie High School, is unable to attend tonight's meeting due to a death in her family. We extend our condolences to Angela and will make sure that she receives the certificate of appreciation we have prepared for her. I'd like to announce that the board met in executive session on Thursday, May 16, 2019, in the former dining room at Erie High School from 8:20 p.m. to 9:06 p.m. regarding personnel matters, and this evening, Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019, in the library at East Middle School from 5:20 to 5:32 p.m. regarding legal and personnel matters. We'll now move on to the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, a group of students from a variety of career and technical programs at Erie High School hosted a STEM day for students at Grover Cleveland Elementary School. During that time, students learned how a CNC machine operates, saw robots at work, tried their hand at virtual welding, and much, much more. Jenny Kenyon, a forensic artist from Penn State University, recently visited Collegiate Academy to work with a group of students on a project reconstructing the skull and face of a skeleton. With the help of Mercyhurst University, the students printed 3D plastic replicas of the skull and used clay to reconstruct facial features. Pay for Burley Elementary School will hold an open house and registration event on Thursday, May 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the school at 235 East 11th Street. There will be activities, tours, refreshments, and prizes. Parents who complete a registration will receive a free backpack with school supplies while supplies last. Erie's Public Schools will host its second annual Middle School Artist in Residency celebration and performance at Strong Vincent Middle School tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The event will include work from the students at East, Strong Vincent, and Wilson Middle Schools. Video presentations, a dance performance, and a music presentation with local group One Tribe will be available. The district is continuing to accept applications for the Eagles Nest Program of Academic Distinction for students who will be entering 5th or 6th grade this fall. For more information on the initiative, please call 814-874-6015. We're also continuing to accept applications from high school students for a free summer coding camp the district is hosting in partnership with Mercyhurst University. For more information, please check our website. And a reminder to families that the last day of school will be staggered by grade level this year. The last day for elementary schools is Tuesday, June 4th, with an early dismissal at 1 o'clock. Middle school students is Wednesday, June 5th, with early dismissal again at 1 p.m. And the last day for high school students is Thursday, June 6th, again with a 1 p.m. dismissal. The last day for students at the Patrick J. DePaulo Student Success Center will be based on the last day of their home school. And I'd also like to remind parents and students that the 2019-20 school year will start after Labor Day this year on Tuesday, September 3rd. And that concludes my report. Except for the stair climber. Mr. Nixon, could you please come up?
My fellow board members, let's.
Good evening. My name is Ken Nixon, the Coordinator of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and I'm going to speak on behalf of all of our students tonight. They're going to receive our Stair Climber Award. First off, before I go any further, I just want to first thank Mr. Polito, Ms. Sabersky, all the board, everybody else in the other district leaders that have helped support this Stair Climber Award. This will be the first full year. We've done 8 Stair Climber Awards this year. I think they've been very productive and positive, so very thankful for that. I just wanted to say that publicly. On my left here, we have Mrs. Nora Dolak, who is our Director of Curriculum and Assessment, and she's going to be helping out tonight with handing the students their plaques. One thing I'd like to do next is give thanks to all of our parents and guardians who are here tonight, so if you would join me in a round of applause. Just some quick procedures. Stair climbers, as I call your name, just please come down, I'll shake your hand, and then you can see Mrs. Dolak for your plaque. Stop at the top, get one solo picture, stand with the board for a large picture once everybody's up, and then after that picture, we'll all head out to the lobby. So one reason why we do the Stair Climber, just to make sure everybody's aware, the Stair Climber Award is a student monthly recognition award that we look for students that have made improvements in attendance, positive behavior, and classroom performance. How these students get to us is that each of the schools vote for one student for each month. So without further ado, I just want to take time to award all of our students that showed resilience, tenacity, and grit. So ladies and gentlemen, our May 2019 Stair Climbers. We're going to start off from Erie High School, 11th grader. Savannah exhibits a drive each and every day not to give up, and she has improved tremendously. She started writing goals on her bathroom mirror each week, and she has accomplished every one of the following. Number 1, getting an honor card. Number 2, maintaining good grades. Number 3, getting her driver's license. Number 4, saving money to purchase her own car. Number 5, improving her GPA to enroll in the Go College program. Savannah is continuing to maintain her grades to earn an honor card in the 4th quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start it off with Savannah Wilson. Eleventh grader from Collegiate Academy. Kevin has raised his cumulative GPA of 5.031 last year to a whopping 5.116 this year. He led his academic decathlon team in April to a 4th place divisional finish in the nation. Personally, he earned 7 independent medals and a $250 scholarship. Ladies and gentlemen, 11th grader Kevin Chow. From East Middle School, 7th grader, Josiah has begun to improve her behavior and overall effort. Ladies and gentlemen, Josiah Wayne. Strong Vincent Middle School, 6th grader, Shayna Griffin is a shining example of kindness, consideration, and compassion. She always puts 100% into her schoolwork. No matter how hard it may be, day in and day out, she lives up to the Strong Vincent motto, with courage, she conquers. Ladies and gentlemen, Shayna Griffin. From Wilson, 7th grader. Cariana has decreased her behavior referrals and increased her academics. Ladies and gentlemen, Cariana Bibbs. From Grover Cleveland, 2nd grader, not the youngest though tonight. Dominic has completely turned around his behavior this year. He now comes to school ready to learn. He helps others and is a leader. He helped change the school sign, assists with lunch duty, and even helps with some office tasks like counting flyers. He has used his experiences to help other students who are struggling with behavior choices. We are so proud of his accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, Dominic Shakespeare. From Joanna Connell, first grader. Silas has done extremely well academically since the beginning of the year. He has continued to stay after school to get extra help, and his grades have improved dramatically. He is showing true Connell pride. Ladies and gentlemen, Silas Talley. From Deal Elementary, second grader. Because Arialis has improved her focus and attention in class, her grades have gone up in math and reading, and she has increased her dibbles by 10 words. Ladies and gentlemen, Arialis Fuentes. Got some little people tonight. Edison Elementary, second grader. Alexa has made improvements in being able to control her emotions in the classroom and has grown in reading and math throughout the school year. Her ability to ignore others and focus on being a leader in her classroom has helped her to earn the Edison Stair Climber this month. We are all very proud of you and wish you the best for next year. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexa Cordero. From Harding Elementary, fifth grader. Cassandra is a hard worker, well-behaved, and really sweet. Ladies and gentlemen, warm applause for Cassandra Menjivar. It's a busy night. I heard there's a big play going on, so maybe everybody's there. From Jefferson Elementary, fourth grader. Ezekiel has dramatically changed his outlook on school, grades, and behavior are improving daily. Ladies and gentlemen, Ezekiel Dorsey. From Lincoln Elementary, first grader. Isaiah's behavior has greatly improved. He has also tremendously improved in his academics. He's very friendly and helpful with students and staff. Isaiah is a shining example of a true Lincoln Lion. We are very proud of him. Bravo, Isaiah. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaiah Flemings. I know he's here. From McKinley Elementary, fourth grader. Yassini has made tremendous improvements in all areas. He's a leader for our school and students. We are proud to have him represent McKinley as this month's Stair Climber recipient. Ladies and gentlemen, Yassini Abdi. From first to fourth, pretty tall. Perry Elementary, fifth grader. Brianna has shown great improvement in her academic abilities. She has improved her grades and her attention to her work. She has become serious and motivated student. We are extremely proud of Brianna and how she has turned the fifth grade year into a success. We at Perry are confident that she will continue this path into middle school. Ladies and gentlemen, Brianna Smith. Kindergartner from Piper Burley. Abdul had a difficult transition into kindergarten. He has adjusted beautifully, walking to class, learning English, and participating daily. His smile and positive personality are contagious. Ladies and gentlemen, kindergartner Abdul Al-Alawi. From the DePaulo Success Center, middle schooler. Jaden has come from Wilson and has worked diligently and completed 2 classes already and has only been with us for 1 month. He is a cyber student who's going above and beyond all expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaden Ruffley. So what we'll do is, students, you guys can shift back over in front of our school board and our superintendents, please. We'll line you up and do one large group photo, and then we'll all head out, parents, guardians, grandparents, and we'll do some individual photos with the schools. Thank you. All right, one more round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, our May 2019 stair climbers. Okay, we'll all head out to the lobby. Thank you, everybody.
And we lose our crowd every time. Can I have a motion to, what?
I want to ask him a question.
Oh,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
a few years ago, the board passed a resolution to honor Dr. Raymond Dombrowski and place a plaque in the lobby of Central Tech and then now Erie High School. And the point of it was that it was not an athletic honor, it was an academic and athletic honor. He, as a student, had gone to Tech. He had risen up, educated himself, became a teacher, coach, administrator, and eventually superintendent. So to honor him and to make students aware that a young person can climb that ladder, as we just saw, the board, by its resolution, specifically said that it should hang in the lobby. And for a number of years, I think it was before you were superintendent, Mr. Polito, this has been kind of hanging there. Bad choice of words on my part. I've had inquiries about why it wasn't in the lobby. Anyway, the other night when we had our committee of the whole meeting up there with the Secretary of Education, on the break we had, I wandered into the gymnasium and it was up on the wall, unreadable, on the gymnasium wall with a number of other plaques. I don't want to make a big deal of it, but I'd like to call upon you, Mr. Polito, to delegate somebody to see that it's moved to the lobby and put at eye level in an appropriate place so that that board resolution can be honored. So if you would, I'd ask that you could do that for us.
I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins.
Thank you. I move we accept the report of the superintendent.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing of citizens, persons desiring to speak for 5 minutes must submit the request in writing to the Secretary's office at least 1 week prior to the board meeting. All others may speak for 3 minutes. One 5-minute speaker, Mr. Johnny Johnson of Erie, speaking to the topics of the use of tasers and African American history curriculum. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, school board members.
Good evening.
President Petrunga, thank you for allowing me to use my 5 minutes. I will probably say some things during the stage of this discourse that may make some of you uncomfortable. But I remember something I was taught by one of my mentors that said that when you sit at a table, you probably will become uncomfortable, but you don't leave the table, but rather you find a more comfortable seat. So I'm hoping that we all will find a more comfortable seat with some of the issues that I'm going to bring up. I'm here again as a citizen, a taxpayer, a retired educator, and an advocate for students in my community. I am fully aware that the placement of tasers in certain Erie City public schools is a done deal, tasers purchased, officers trained, and tasers deployed. I spoke to you at the previous board meeting pertaining to this issue, which I believe should have been vetted prior to the community reading about it in the local newspaper. This is a safety issue that not only affects the 11,000 students in the district, teachers, parents, but also the community at large. There was no community input about this issue that could eventually become a powder keg. But community input was sought into the placement of logos on the football field, which would not adversely affect the safety and well-being of students. I never feel good about being reactive. I prefer to be proactive, but in order to be proactive, there must be an atmosphere of transparency and discourse, and sometimes debate about issues that affect us all. I believe that 3 young ladies who spoke prior to me at the last meeting about the mental health issues and the effect trauma has on students, as they delineated by them, should have been a primary concern of school directors before the decision was made to invest in and deploy the use of tasers. I sincerely hope and pray that the decision to place tasers in the schools do not lead to a problem and situation which could have been prevented by taking time to do a thorough examination of what many call the pros and cons of the use of tasers in a school setting, particularly when students as young as 12 years of age may be affected. I hope the community would like to see the policies that will be associated with the use of tasers. This would include when would they be used, why would they be used, and who would they be used on. A written report by the taser user as to the circumstances involved in the use of the taser should be on file as a public document. I also hope that this policy could be developed and published by the school district prior to the beginning of the upcoming school year. I've said enough about tasers. I will say nothing else during the course of the next year about tasers. I would like to point you to the year 2019, which is the year that we live in now. And as a note, it's almost 50 years ago that the school district entered into a consent decree mandated by state organizations and others to rectify inequities in the Erie School District towards students of color. This included hiring of minority teachers and administrators, access to jobs previously inaccessible, but more importantly, to create equal, equitable, and fair education opportunities for all. I've been told by some that the consent decree has outlived its usefulness because we are in full compliance. And I use the term full compliance very loosely. In your 2018 through 2024 strategic plan, I point your attention to your commitment statement, which reads, in Erie Public Schools, we champion high levels of student engagement and personalized pathways to educational excellence for every student without exception. On page 21 of your strategic plan document, it states, for each of the focus areas listed below, the curriculum, instruction, and professional development team reflect on what has worked well as what needs to be improved relative to each of the 6 components of a standards-aligned system. In the 6 components of a standard-aligned system, was there any consideration given to the area of social studies for elementary, middle, and high school students for the implementation of an African American history curriculum anytime between now and 2024? As many school districts across our state and across the nation have seen the need to institute not an Afrocentric curriculum geared to a few students, but rather an African American history curriculum that can be assessed by all students, we find ourselves once again on the bottom rung of educational progress. With a student population as diverse as ours, the teaching of the historical and cultural aspects of all ethnic groups would serve as a guiding light leading to better understanding, effective communication, and positive social interaction among citizens and students. I leave you with the first 5 lines of Whitney Houston's song, The Greatest Love of All. And it says, I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the cheering laughter remind us of how we used to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak for 3 minutes? Not seeing any, we'll move on. Reports of committees and liaisons. Yes, Mr. Spiegel.
Mr. President, just wanted to get back to you about the Veterans Memorial Park and working with Attorney Walker said we are now fully incorporated, squared away. We have our 501c3, and very soon we will work again with Mr. Polito, with Mr. Wagner, and I hate to, oh my gosh, running. And sorry for the insult there. And then we'll get it on the agenda to have a presentation about regarding this. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
I just wanted to kind of wrap back around to the Global Youth Summit that Angela and I had sat on together. And working with several of the students, they did feel, and I had mentioned this in the committee of the whole, but I wanted to mention it again, that their voices weren't really being heard, and they did request that us board members, especially sit down with whoever the student representative is going to be, help walk them through the process so that they understand how to bring forth the student voice, and then prepping them on just when they can share and when they cannot share. The other thing that several students at that day had verbalized was concerns about the tasers, not understanding why there was armed police officers in the school. So I do think that this would be an area of opportunity to bridge some gaps with our students. If we've reached the point, and I think we should have an annual discussion about this if we're still at that point, but that the students need to understand why the officer is there when the officer would use force, so that could be a part of their understanding and help bridge some of those gaps so that we're not always operating in, some of them operating in a state of fear. I think that they had brought forth a lot of concerns about implicit bias. I know we had brought that up before, but they brought that up again at the Global Youth Summit, and some of the students really feeling discouraged that they were being targeted because they were African American. So I just wanted to lift up their voices because the students were not here, just to kind of share some of the things that they had shared at the Global Youth Summit. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll just extend on what Tyler was saying about the Global Youth Service Summit. Maybe about 90% of the questions that was asked during that time by parents and students were directed to myself and Tyler. So there are a lot of questions that families do have, and one of my suggestions would be, and the students really had some good ideas, and they were very verbal about their ideas. So, and one of the things that me and Tyler had said was, they maybe could create some type of student advisory board that would work with the representative on the board for the months that they're here and get some of their input and have that person speak on it. So that's one thing that I feel like may need to be created, is a student advisory board that, has a connection with the actual board of directors and our administrators, so that they can have a voice and feel like they're heard. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, we might want to start holding some of these things in our own schools, so that we can see what the kids actually are concerned with. It was a lot of kids here, and some of them were very bold, and we praised them for that they were, displaying characteristics of leadership. And I feel like, we have a lot of those type of students in our district, and it would be great if we gave them a platform to stand on at times, even with the student representative, and then in other ways as well, holding some of these, back in my day, it was Team Summit type of things, in some of the schools, maybe, quarterly or something like that, just so we can start getting some feedback about how the students feel. So.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, I'll take a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Feeney, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have no unfinished business. We move on to new business.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Harkins.
move we adopt items 6 and 7, that being the new business of the school district and the supplemental. New business?
Motion by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Number 8, I asked for this to be separated. It's our budget. I only have one reason I did it. Everybody knows my feelings. It has to do because I don't agree with raising the taxes on the back of the taxpayers, but that's just my feeling. That's all I have to say about it. Right. I'll take a motion.
I move we approve it.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Feeney? Yes. Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Yes. Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Petrunger?
No. Approval of the minutes for April 17th, 29th, 2019.
I move we accept them.
Motion by Ms. Feeney. Second by Linda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bills and payroll.
Move we approve them for payment?
Motion by Mr. Harkins.
Second.
Second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Report of the secretary. I'll take a motion.
Move we approve it?
Mr. Harkins. Second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call when you're ready.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. We have no awards on bids. Any other matter?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Based upon Mr. Johnson's thoughtful comments tonight, if we don't already have a plan to have a social studies committee that is going to look into African American history curriculum, I would like to recommend that we do that. I think it's important. I'm a little concerned, and it's just the nature of having to learn 2 new curriculums and then our SWIBIS program, that teachers may get overwhelmed in. And whether we like it or not, a lot of the times the social studies curriculum doesn't get the attention that it probably is. It definitely is due. So I think it'd be a good time for us to look into that. It also came up, ironically, at our committee meetings about the logo, that there was another citizen who mentioned the fact that we had a very weak African American history curriculum. So if that's possible, thanks.
Mr. President,
Yes.
we actually have been talking about that with the creation of the academy over at the Eagle's Nest. They are going to develop a social studies curriculum over there, African American based, and I'll let B elaborate on that, but we're looking to take that and expand it across the rest of the district.
The other thing is we have that timeline for the curriculum. So we did the literacy and the math, we'll do science, social studies, and then it becomes part of review all the time. So we're in the same mode.
Yes, Tyler.
So I guess just to add on to both, or not both, 3. I think 3 people just shared. Okay. As I know, curriculum can take more than a minute to update and develop, and it's expensive, and it's an undertaking. So I guess this would be my ask of the teachers, is that there is opportunity to integrate the elements into what they're already teaching, and we can bolster up while we're waiting. So I would encourage teachers to not just, I'm not telling them to rebel against anything that the district has set out of place, but I would ask that they take it upon themselves to also make sure that their students are represented within the classrooms, that the students can see themselves on the walls, that they can see themselves in the word problems and in the stories that they're sharing, so that while we're waiting for curriculum to update, that the students aren't feeling like they don't exist in the classroom. And also, I just wanted to kind of add on the other thing that was stated. I don't think that it will come as a surprise that I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we have the tasers or how it came about, but I do understand that this had a lot more to do with the uniform assignment versus maybe what the school district had necessarily handpicked themselves. Reaching out to the solicitor, that I had inquired about just the need for them to even wear them at our expulsion or our suspension hearings, and it was relayed back that this is because of the uniform assignment, and that there is no place to store the weapons when they come into the meeting. So I do think this is a discussion that we need to go into further at a committee of the whole, where we have more time to kind of open up as to and maybe invite the officers in so we can discuss just the appropriateness of the uniform that they're wearing to things like the expulsion hearings.
Sure. Yes.
Just speaking with my son, he knows down to the minute of how many days are left in the school year. I'm not quite sure. He told me on the way to school today, and it was maybe 9 or something like that, I'm not quite sure. And he's broken it down to how many fun days and how many education days. And so having said that, just to anybody that's listening, be careful with the sun is eventually going to start shining, and these little boys will be chasing balls and little girls will be excited doing whatever it is they're doing. So just be careful at the end of the school year. Kids get a little bit more rambunctious running around the parking lots and around the buses, on and off the buses. We've had, as far as I'm aware so far, a very secure and safe school season this year, very successful school season in a whole lot of ways. So let's just kind of continue that momentum for the only couple more weeks that we have left. And before everybody leaves, I just want to thank all the teachers for their hard work this year. We certainly know that it's certainly not easy doing what everybody does on a day-to-day basis, and we appreciate what you do. And certainly for the PTA parents and all the parents that are involved, it's very satisfying to see how a lot of the parents are getting more and more involved. And I think that our school results test studies are succeeding because of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I thank the teachers at Erie High School for inviting me to prom. I enjoyed it with the kids and, spying on them a little bit for the parents. But, they had a really good time, and it was like a really safe, good, clean night for the kids, and it was just exciting to be there. And I just wanted to make sure I thank the staff and the Erie High School teachers for inviting me and having a good time up there with the kids.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The concerns raised by Mr. Johnson are reasonable and valid, and as echoed by Tyler, I just want to say that I agree that we should have a discussion of it. I admit that our purchase and authorization of them got by me. I wasn't aware of it until after the fact, and I'm not complaining, just that, as Tyler said, I think it deserves a discussion by us with everyone knowledgeable about it. The other thing is, we passed the preliminary budget without any discussion, and perhaps there is no need to, but I just wondered if the administration wanted us to know anything, if anything had changed since the last time we were together. If not, fine, but I just, something like that. I thought there might be some discussion.
Well, on the tasers, we will make sure to put that on the next committee of the whole agenda so we can have a discussion, and we'll ask Mr. Vona to come and explain, and we can consider options moving forward. For the budget, there's nothing that has changed from last week's presentation. However, I do want to highlight that this is probably the first budget in over a decade that instead of cutting, we are investing in our students and our facilities, and I'm hoping that you'll support this budget through the final budget so that we can continue to improve our curricular resources and also our facilities across the district.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Motion by Mr. Spiegel. Second by Mr. Titus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.